What's going on? Today I have a Druid build that I've been working on. It uses the water Obyn, and it uses Tack Village Druid. Now, water Obyn gets some of his Pierce buffs early on, and so he works better than the original one. But you want to take Druid because they get buffed by Obyn. You want to take Tack Shooter because it's just ridiculously strong right now, especially in every single map that's out right now. And then you want to take Village for the round 12 counter on the 0-2-0 Village. So I can kind of just run through the strategy for y'all real quick. You can see this guy's playing Druid as well. His strategy is just worse than mine. But almost every single game you want to start Tack Shooter, get it 1-1, spam group balloons. Usually it's reds, blues, greens, yellows if your economy can support it. But usually this strategy looks for a easy, quick win. Usually round 11, round 12, round 13 is what you're looking for. But due to the nature of the Pierce and the Village, you can get really far into late game and go for like a round 26 DDT rush. I think it's BFBs, the big purple one. Those can bust the current Village Alk Tack Shooter strategy. You just send 3 purples, and using this Druid build, you usually have the economy to do it because Druids are extremely efficient. Now, something I do want to mention is the Druid's middle path, the 0-3-0. It's not the same as what it is in Bloons Tower Defense 6 currently. Currently, it's extremely strong in that game. They reworked it a little bit. 3 Druids in Bloons Tower Defense 6 can clear more than half the mobs up to around 80 in Tower 6. This one, it doesn't have that buff. So usually the most efficient is a Storm Druid, like spam Storm Druids to blow them away from the entrance. Or you go the bottom path and you get attack speed Druids, and then you synergize it with lightning. Now, you can see here that this guy's leaking just a ridiculous amount of balloons. He doesn't even have his hero out. I don't know what he's doing. Probably just farming XP or something. But you can see the build order that I'm going with is a 2-2 Tack Shooter, Obyn, another 2-2 Tack Shooter, Druid. This one I'm going bottom path Druid, but sometimes it's better to go top path if they try to send a early brush. And then usually you just place more Druids after round 12. But leading up to round 12, generally around 8 or 9, you want to go and get your Village, just in preparation for any regrows that they might send. That's not really meta right now, so nobody does regrow. But you do want to prepare for the round 12 purple camo rush. Everyone's doing it in the low elos, the mid elos. And the hard counter to that is Tack Shooter, Druid, and that Village. It's very, very cheap. I'm sure another Bloons player can do the exact math on it, but it's very powerful. It's very cheap. It lets you economy very heavy early game. You can spam yellows, you can spam greens, and it doesn't take too much of a hit because normally it's not too efficient to do it. You're just dumping money, and if you need that money to counter a round 11 rush, if they're just saving, then dumping into yellows, dumping into greens isn't normally worth it. But as you can see here, I'm going to be pushing this out a little bit into the late game. This guy's been leaking a lot of balloons, but he's holding relatively well. And I think the way that I get him is I just brute force yellows, and then I put some rainbows in and boost them. But until that happens, you see me setting up the Village. I'm preparing for the camo round, which is in 2 rounds. Getting more Tack Shooters because on this map it's very efficient compared to the Druids. Having 1 lightning Druid at least is very powerful though. You generally want one of those with jungle drums. And if you get 4 of them, you are just solid until they can start sending DDTs or they can start sending fortified blimps. Currently I'm still working on a better counter to it. I think the answer is going less Tack Shooters and more Druids, just because the raw pop potential of druids buffed by a village and buffed by Obyn is ridiculous for the amount of cost it is. I know late games, some games you can get up to like 30k, 40k in your bank to where cost isn't that big of a deal. But you know, at that point you can just drop 40 druids, 3 villages, and then you know you got a full map, which has happened a couple times, and I can get more footage of that at some point. But you can see here he's weak to lead balloons for a little bit, but then he got those spikes to give him a buffer. I can talk about Spike Factory a little bit too, actually. I tried to make that work instead of Tack Shooter, but Tack Shooter is just so insanely effective that it's not even worth running Spike Factory at the moment when you can run Tack Shooter. It got some changes in the upcoming update. I think it's 1.0.4 the Tack Shooter did, and that may open up room to swapping to Alchemist Druid or to Boat Druid, which both have seen some success. Of course, you know, with the boats, it's harder to kind of get the village placements on most of the maps. And you can see here, this guy hasn't really like rushed me at all yet. And I'm just like, what is he doing? Is he saving? Like, what's going on? And I'm just putting Tack Shooters to prepare. That red one ain't in the village though, so that was a misplay. But usually at this point, it's good to have maybe 3 or 4 druids. I'm over here just focusing on economy, testing his limits, because he's got these balloon traps and these spikes. And going back to the Spike Factory, these spikes are insanely powerful. They give a very strong buffer to any type of burst, usually making it to where if you want to kill them, you just have to have a long-term burst like you're about to see here. This is just all yellows. I was just trying to get some economy in, and I saw I could take advantage of it with some rainbows, put a boost, and it takes them out. He emote taunted me earlier, so I thought about it, but I didn't do that. But anyways, that's a quick summary of some thoughts that I've had working with Druid. If y'all have figured out any strategies, let me know. I can test them out, put them in a video. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep experimenting and see what I got. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later.